I want to see if I double click this. Oh, it works here. Okay, guys. Okay, cancel that order. Let's go back. Hey, Knoptop here, and I'm gonna show you a little video I did. It's just a screen capture of me making a thumbnail, trying to learn how to do masking, which is non-destructive photo editing, something that I've never really done until recently, so you can watch along and watch me learn. And if you have any tricks and tips of your own to share after watching this, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. It's a little bit longer video, so if you don't have time to watch it right now, just hit that little button that says save, and you can watch it for later. Anyways, enjoy this little toot. I hope it's helpful for you. And be sure to watch. There's a couple little tricks that you might not know about. That's how you get you to watch to the end. The thumbnail I'm editing is for this 360-degree orbiting rotating rig video that I made. If you don't know what that's all about, you can check the link in the description, and there's some other links. Like I said, or maybe I didn't say, this video was originally posted up on Patreon, and I decided I'm just going to post it to everyone here so you can thank the patrons for that. If you're interested to find out more, links in the description. All right, let's get to the tutorial. We are back with another tutorial real quick. I just figured since I was going to be in here doing this anyways, I might as well record it. But let's just open this up. This is the thumbnail I think I'm going to use for my video for this time-lapse rig, this 360 time-lapse rig that my friend Peter Schriepel built that I'm going to talk about how to build. Let's just take a look real quick. Let's just zoom in. Look at that thumb. What is going on? Look at that. That is like intense, isn't it? Anyways, this is the thumbnail I'm going to use, and I want to cut out the background, but there's something I wanted to show you, which is using masks instead of actually doing cutouts, which is what I usually do. So there's lots of different ways to do this. There's an actual dedicated select and mask option. Personally, I just don't like the results of that. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to click this little button right down here, which is add a mask. Boom, now we have a mask. Now something I'm going to do here, this is out of order. Let me go back. Let me go back and do it correctly. We're going to make a copy. If I click this and just drag this to this new, it makes a copy. I always like to have an original just sitting there. Now on this layer, we'll add our mask. Now we're dealing with masks. And masks, if you've never done this before, it's actually really cool, and I love that it's non-destructive, which is something that I usually just have a bunch of layers stacked up with like different versions of all my different edits. But this uses black and white as your plus or minus, adding to the image or taking away from it. And this is how it works. You have to select the mask, and when you hit X as the shortcut, you'll see here it changes colors. So let me go to brush tool. There it is. So this is the takeaway. This is the add-on. White is add, black is take away. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to actually go in here with my little, what is the name of this tool? Let's find out. The polygon lasso tool. I like to use the polygon tool. I think it defaults to the lasso tool. Lasso tool is kind of tricky because you got to have like a really good mouse pad area, and you have to have a really steady hand if you're going to trace this stuff. Not ideal for me. So we're going to go to the polygon tool. And what I'm going to do is just cut around this. Now, I've had a lot of practice doing this, and there is other options. You can use the vector cutout, which is actually the best way to do it. But if you're not familiar with that, then it's pretty intense to just jump right into Photoshop and start using the vector tool. But this one's pretty easy, and if you notice, I actually hold the space bar. It lets me move around, and it doesn't stop my polygon cutout thing. Now, if you've ever used this before, the more clicks you have, the more rounded your edges will be. But I'm going to do something kind of annoying that happens probably to a lot of you. Actually, I'm not going to do it yet because I don't want to wreck my cutout here. Actually, I'll just do it. I double clicked and now I connected. Oh no, now what? Well, this one actually works out because we're not going to do destructive editing where I would usually just delete this. Instead, we're going to mark that. But what you can do is you hold, on the Mac computer, I hold Option or I hold Shift, and I can plus or minus. I want to hold plus, click once, and now we're reconnected, which means we can add to our cutout. So if we hold that again, I'll hold Shift. And that's how you reconnect that little tool if you double click too fast and you it closes. You don't have to be frustrated. I've had a lot of moments like that. I'm just going to speed this up and show you what to do next. All right, now we're getting close to the end here. Now where we added this, if you remember, we added it here. So we have to get it close enough so it reconnects, because if you do it down here, it'll cut across your finger here. Boom. Did I just do that wrong? Are you kidding me right now? No, we're doing it right. All right. Not a problem, not a problem. So the opposite, there's always little things that'll happen. This is good though, this is good. If I haven't mentioned it already, I'm holding the space bar to move around as I was clicking through here. Really cool little shortcut. You need it when you're zoomed in like this. It just gives you those, it's just a real quick maneuver. So just like we could hit plus to add to it, now we're gonna subtract. So we hit minus, or we hit the option on the Mac, might be Alt on your computer, and we'll start here. Let's just do a little test just to make sure. Yep, that's what we want. So we'll hit Alt, and now we're just gonna go back around here. Not a big deal, not ideal to have to redo this, but I think it's good to show you, if you've not had experience with this, this is how you do it. And you're gonna have little things that happen, but you can always go back and in most cases fix it pretty easily. We'll come down here. And I start to get a little bit sloppy towards the end, because I start to think like, this is a thumbnail for a YouTube video. Like, I'm not making a poster. If I was making a poster and this was going to be enlarged and used in print material or something, I would totally use the vector tool to cut that out. We double click and now it connects. Now let's look at it. Now we have a nice little cutout. There's this area here that we're going to have to get to, but let's not do that just yet. Let's use the masking option. So I'm going to hit the letter G. That gives us our paint bucket. Make sure this is selected, and then we're going to hit that, and it's the wrong one. I had the wrong thing selected. Not a problem. Let's edit undo. Now here's what's cool. We're going to invert the selection. Now I know the shortcut key, which is Command Shift I. If you need to do it by hand, it's right here. It's inverse, and that inverses the selection, and you can trial and error that, just like I did, where that erase the correct thing. Now what's cool about this is just masking. It's not erasing. I keep saying that because even for me, I'm like, this is still new for me. Now we're going to go in here and finish this. So let's just click around. I'll do this in real time for you. And I've been doing this for a while, like years now, and there's different ways to do it. A lot of this is preference. I don't get too worried about the details of this. The reason you'd want to use this tool instead of the eraser tool, this is much cleaner edge. And the reason we want a clean edge is, I'll show you in a moment. So stay tuned. Don't click away just yet. You can go if you need to, if you have something else to do. But I just want to show you why I like to click around. Look at that. Look at that thumb bend. Are you kidding me? Ooh, I almost hit delete. That's a natural tendency. Not going to do that. We'll hit the paint bucket. And now it's gone. So we'll deselect that, Control, Command D. So there's our image cutout. Now here's the reason I like to use that cutout. It's a nice clean edge. That's clean. And you can go in here and with the paint tool or the brush tool, you can kind of get some edges if you need to just touch up some stuff. And what's cool about the mask, it's like, nope. Actually, it looks like there's some stuff over here. Clear that out. I hit the X, switches it, and now we're back, and now we're adding to it. So the mask is like add or take away. That's pretty much how you have to think about it. Now here's a little trick. Here's a little trick. Here's a little trick. Let's, I like to put another layer here in between, underneath. We're gonna change this color up. Let's just make it a crazy color. Something bright, we'll just do green. Make sure we're on this layer. We're gonna, yeah, you see this right here? Look at this. That's no good. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to, oh, can't hit erase. I almost hit erase. See that? I'm going to go to the mask again, and I'll hit brush. That's not the right one. X. Now we're taking away. And I'll just look. Sometimes I'll do this if there's a lot of intricate spaces. I'll just look around and see if there's any areas. It looks like we got everything. Like I said before, you can see with this, what is the name of this? The polygon lasso tool. The more clicks, the smoother your round curves are going to be. I made this look super smooth. I've just been doing this for a while, but you can see here where it's not. And you could go in here and you can kind of smooth it out. Little light touches. It's not a big deal. All right, so there we are. Here's what's neat about this. So if you've ever wanted to make a YouTube thumbnail with that cool white outline, here's how you do it. On the mask thing right here, I'll right click, add mask to selection. And now it's going to select everything that's masked. Now here's what's cool about this. Now I'll click back on this image, copy, paste. And now if I make that go away, it's cut out, which is cool. That's how you get a cutout. That wasn't what I was going to show you. Oh, this is what I was going to show you. So we'll make the selection. Let me show you this. If you have this selected and you click, there is no option. You see that? That's where you don't see that make selection option. That's how you know. That needs to be selected. Add mask to selection. Now that's done. We're going to add a new layer. I'm used to tapping my shortcut keys, but I'll do it manually. I either tap L or M just to get this, but we're going to bring this up. Stroke is what we're looking for. If you don't use these right click options, you can go under select and then it'll be under here. We'll go select. Where is it actually? Let's see where it is. Now I'm curious. I'm so used to using the shortcut keys. Oh, it's actually under edit. You see that? So if you're going to go up here, it'd be edit stroke. So then we go that. So that's the other option. But we'll right click. It's going to bring that up. It's going to try to make it green. Let's make it white. Actually, let's make it a dark green. Let's just do it like that. 12. Boom. Now I put this on this additional layer so you can see it's all by itself. So now you start to see how you can do a lot of things. Let's deselect. That's Command D. And you can see here, if we zoom in, ooh, there's a white line around that. You see that? You got to always keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. I don't like that. So we're going to edit undo. And if you hold Command Option Z, it goes through a couple steps of edit undo, or you can do it up here. You can keep stepping back. We're going to try this stroke again. We're going to go stroke, and now we're going to do, instead of in the outside, we're going to do center, which is always good. Inside isn't good because it cuts into the image too much. So let's do center. Select that. Boom. And now we're good to go. Now it overlaps just a little bit, which is nice. But if you don't like that, you can always bring the image on top. Do you see that? That's how you start working with the layers. And now it starts getting kind of cool. I don't really like that dark green. You can go and maybe redo it. I'm just going to change the brightness and go old school and just image, adjust, desaturate, and then brighten it. Changing the brightness and contrast a couple of times. You never did it like this? Yeah, you just keep changing it until it's so bright, it's white. This is like the slowest way to do this, by the way. One more time. Oh my goodness. See how there's a million different ways to do stuff? Now it's white. If you wanted to do this the correct way, you would simply right-click here, add mask to selection, and it reselects it. You don't need to do all that work. Let's make a new layer. We'll stroke it. We'll turn this white. Boom. 12 is fine. Center. Boom. Now we're good. We're back in business. The reason I like to do the outline on a separate layer is because if there's certain things you want to not outline. And you could set this up as a mask as well. This is where I just kind of default back to what I'm used to doing, which is just erase it. But the masking option could work for this as well if you wanted it to do. And it'd probably be probably be a lot more useful because it wouldn't be destructive. But let's say we only wanted to outline just this pole here. Well, now we can go through and some of this we'll have to redo. So then we can go and say, all right, now we're going to do the selection here, and we'll come around like that. And we'll do that. Go okay. So now that's selected, but it's on the back. So we're going to have to move it to the front, and now it's weird. And this is where you start having to do some photoshopping. So then we have to go, oh, I did this so bad. You'd want to do this a little bit better. I'm just outlining it and getting rid of it. Look at that thumb bend, though. Am I right? I'm just hitting the erase tool, erasing it. This is kind of sloppy up here. But there you go. So now, what do we get down here? Boom. Got it. Very cool. So there you go. That's how you outline certain things. And since we have these on different layers, look at that. We could have that be the super thick line, thin line, no line, and these are just working with my different layers. Move that to the top, make it overlap a little bit more. Here's something else you can try. So I'm not using this mask layer right now. What you're actually seeing is this cutout that we made by right-clicking, add mask to selection, and then I actually clicked on this, copied and pasted it. If we look here, this is something that you can do to make sure everything's cut out in the background. We double-click on this. Oh, there we go. And now you can go in here. This is another way to put the line around your object. You don't need to select it at all. You can actually just do it this way. So let's do that, and you can adjust the size. Boom, and you can do it on the fly like that, which is really neat. So that gives you a whole other options. And let's just, out of curiosity, see something here. I want to see if I double-click this. This is something new for me. Oh, it works here. Okay, guys. Okay, cancel that order. Let's go back. This is how you do it. So you don't even have to cut out anything. See, I'm coming from a way I used to do it, which is like I learned as I went and I just kind of made up my own way of doing it. This is probably the best way. So we, on the same exact layer, we have our mask, our original. We double click. Now we have all the full options. So now we can go in and stroke. And now you can see you can expand that or reduce it. And the cool thing about this is, I want you to see this. This is a little trick. So if this is like this is what's really unique. I'm going to select this mask tool. If you have, let me just put this thing here. If you have an image or a little speck, have you ever had that where you don't know if you got all the cutouts? This is what it would look like. So here's what's really neat. So let's double click on this again. It's so hard to get into that menu. You guys ever realize that? It's kind of frustrating. So we're on the stroke option. So by enlarging this and reducing this, this is another way to make sure you got everything cut out. By enlarging it, you'll see these little weird specks. It's like, oh, so that's another little trick of the trade. I'm just going in. Oh, did I just erase that? I did. I hit erase. See, I defaulted back to my old ways. I'm masking now. We'll do mask, change it to the black. Black erases it. And so by having that large outline around stuff, it actually shows you what you have selected. Now that's a pretty clean. So there you go. And so if we don't like that, we can double click on this, change the color. It's a little thick. Let's bring it down a notch. Boom. Now we got ourselves a thumbnail, huh? Now what's cool about this, I think I can pull this. I'm going to drag this whole layer down so we have two. And I'm going to make this invisible on this bottom one because I want the background to still be there. So now we have the background. Here's what's neat about this. This mask right here, if we disable it, disable mask layer, our image is still there, 100% intact, which I think is so cool. We'll enable that because the reason is you're like, oh, you know what? I want to add a little something there. Let's go back and I want to have it so this whole area right here is still the background. So it's just a nice solid, or maybe you want to just, let's do something like this. We want to have this block, some square. Let's do that. Boom. We want this to just be like it's popping out of the image. So then we just do that. We do that. Now I'm just masking, filling that all back in. So now you have the background there. Now you want to be kind of careful because what I just did there is I got rid of that cool outline, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go and just edit and do that. That is one of the reasons why, for myself, this is one of the reasons why I still select the image. I right click, add to mask, and I still make this one layer that has the actual cutout because worst case scenario, I can still use this one in case I do something weird to this. And mostly for me, that's because I'm still learning to use the mask. So there you go. There's one way to use Photoshop to get those cool YouTube outlines. Non-destructive photo editing gives you all kinds of options once you cut it out. Here's one more thing I want to show you though. Thanks for hanging around. I appreciate it. If I go in here with the soft brush, this is the dilemma of using like the magic wand tool. Do you see the way that line starts to look? If you're just actually using this to do your outline, you see how that just has like a rough look. It just never gets smooth. You see that? That's one of the reasons I don't like using the outline tool or even something like this. So let's say I was going to do like, this is pulling stuff from the background. You see how it's having a hard time grabbing the actual image. But even this, if I started to actually use this to do my cutout, look how rough that is. Rough. That's where using the polygon trace tool and what is that called again? Polygonal. That's annoying to say. I'm just gonna say polygon. That's where using this polygon tool to cut it out is the way to go, at least for me. This is my opinion. Have at it. Maybe you have a better way. You can let me know. I just realized it's actually called polygonal lasso. And I realized something else. I missed a spot. Do you see it? It's all about the details. That, and then I'm gonna hit the shift to add another one, let go of the shift, and now I can click around. I wanna cut those two out, so I'll hit that, make sure my mask is selected. Black takes away. Why is that still there? Oh, it's because that one's gone. So now it's outlined. Now it's officially cut out. Nice. Hey, thanks for watching. There it is. This is the thumbnail. Now I did some modifications and some other Photoshop work, but this is what we ended up with. We as in me as in I. This is what I ended up with. Thumbnails are always the hardest thing of making YouTube videos. I don't know if you ever noticed that, especially with these tutorial stuff, because you're trying to represent the idea of a build and stuff. And so the arrows and I put a little camera up on top just to sort of like visually show that there's it's an orbiting camera. Anyways, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. I think it's pretty cool, little trick to get orbiting time lapse, stuff like that. But hey, thanks again for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you learned a couple things, let me know in the comments below. Knoptop, go make something. If you're interested in seeing how to do masking in Photoshop.